Hey, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? Oh yeah? What's your purpose? Nice to meet you. And it's always interesting to find these long nightsticks on the metro security people. What do you think? Longer is better? Random ID checks and random stops and search and even seizure with no justification. That's China, and that's happening more and more now. In the West, it's got to stop because you have to have justifiable cause to stop someone and check their ID and to search their body and possessions. That's just basic human rights. That is the foundation of a just society, yet can't see that anymore very often. And law of the land being twisted, courts being corrupted, judges on the take, and crook lawyers who are afraid to get disbarred. That's what we're facing. Illegal search and seizure is part of the police state, and nothing has changed. Even with the liberalization of some policies in China, they still can search you for no apparent reason. That's happening at spot checks all over China, more so ever since the bombings coming out of Xinjiang. Check it out, canines and checkpoints going into even switching lines, which I think is a little bit much, because you're already in the subway system, yet there's just switching lines, and what they're doing is they're doing this real name ID verification, which they should not be doing. Interesting. Sleeping on the job. More fun and games on the job. Well, at least they're not in the cars, because if they're in the police cars, then they're basically burning fossil fuels that are funded by the taxpayers, as well as wasting people's time. Who will defend the public interest? Who will be a police officer anymore? It's difficult to say, but I would say this, that these cops are really good at playing video games. And here they come, China's finest in riot gear, to keep the crowds at bay, whether it be for holiday travel or social unrest. You know, in China you can smoke, you can spit, you can loiter, you can have arguments, you can smuggle stuff, you can do all kinds of things in front of the police, but you can't break the peace, okay? Breaking the peace here is so taboo that they always are on high alert. So it's really kind of like a, martial law all the time in China, just if you break the peace. They don't care about anything else, petty fines and petty violations are just basically not really paid much attention to. But if you break the peace and you get a swarm of people getting all riled up, they fear that the most. And obviously they should, because with this many people moving in one direction at one time, there isn't a police or military force on earth that can stop them. At every train station, airport, and bus station, there's always a cache of weapons in a cabinet. Like this one, it's cracked open, and inside are some nightsticks and mace and all that good stuff, body armor. You'll see it off to the side. It'll be quite small, but that's where they keep the breakout weapons in case these people go psychotic and decide to cause trouble. Now these two girls here, they're not going to cause any trouble. They're just waiting for their train. I tell you, you don't have to worry about Chinese police, because most of them are sleeping on the job. He's even got his Windows XP up there, But this guy here should be awake at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Don't you think so? So I've established that Chinese police are kind of like cream puffs, but that's not all bad, because considering that they're a little bit lazy and there's altogether too many police for what they need, they're more helpful than police in the Western world. And what I mean by that is that I've had them show me directions, I've had them actually take me places. They'll do anything that you ask them to do, and they've never really given me any hassle. They've never come after me. I can sit right here, or anybody could, and have a drink. You could smoke, you could do whatever right here, as long as it's not indecency, and they won't bother you. In some cases they'll have a drink and they'll have a smoke with you. I've never had a Chinese police shake me down for spare change in my pocket. I've never had them try to accept a bribe in any way. So in that sense, it's just a completely different way of looking at law enforcement in China. They really are kind of there just because it's their job. They're not really there to collect revenue, because China's a creditor nation. They're not really hurting for money at the government end. So that's the big, I guess, shift, from west to east, is that you've got one law enforcement, that's looking for revenue, and you've got the other in the east that is just basically doing their job and wants to stay far, far away from trouble. These guys do not want to be involved in any kind of crime, breaking anything up, and especially when it comes to weapons or firearms or knives. They want nothing to do with it. They are very well content to sit in their little houses or wherever they're at, their police cars, and just play with their mobile phone, make a few calls, and just chill out. That's all they're really interested in doing. There's nothing macho about it. They've got nothing to prove. They're just trying to get a pension.